Welcome back. This episode is about ideation, the whole idea of coming up with the next product or a next startup or something new or something creative. How does it all work? Where do we find the next idea? So, this will be the start of a new mini series where we want to talk about entrepreneurship. How do we get into starting a business or taking an idea and turning it into a product? So, one of the first things that we focus on as part of building a product is ideation, or coming up with an idea or finding a solution for a problem. So let's begin with that. Most people imagine ideas kind of arrive like lightning strikes, sudden dramatic life changing things. But in reality, it doesn't work like that. Ideas begin very quietly. I'm sure there are a handful of ideas which came as lightning strikes, but most of the big things that you see, the wheel that was invented or the fancy phone that you hold, all of them have been iterative ideas that began very quietly, almost invisibly. So they hide inside the small irritations of life. Yes, I use the word irritations because that is where most of the solutions for a problem begin. For example, if you're a student, the messy lecture notes you wish they were cleaner or somehow more organized, that's a problem that needs to be solved. Or the 20 images you convert to PDF every week, if you're a creator, that's something. The file names that are just cluttering your desktop, that's also something. So most of these experiences are frictions, and we regularly shrug them off. We don't take much notice. Entrepreneurs and solopreneurs in particular do something different. They pause and they notice. They ask a simple question: is this an idea? This section is about training yourself to see what was always there, buried everyday sparks of innovation. And in the AI era, the ability to see these sparks is more powerful than ever. You have a very strong companion to help you find these sparks. So let's look at the truth about where ideas come from. One of the most common myths in entrepreneurship is that ideas arrive fully formed. No, not really. Innovation researcher Steven Johnson, in his book Where Good Ideas Come From, he dispels this myth. He basically shows that, contrary to popular belief, ideas don't emerge as perfect revelations. They accumulate slowly in what he calls slow hunches. It's a hunch. You feel that, okay, this is going to work, this is something a lot of people are going to use and enjoy. Basically, it's a hunch. So you begin with that and it gradually accumulates into something big. A slow hunch begins as a discomfort, a thought, a minor annoyance. I talked about that messy notes that you take in college or maybe in your work. You don't know what to do with it yet. In fact, you may not even know whether it's useful. But over time, as you encounter more friction and more patterns, a connection might form. A spark ignites. So, in his book, Steven Johnson also introduced the idea of adjacent possibilities, the set of new ideas that become available the moment you combine existing ones. So, many times innovation isn't about inventing something from emptiness. Many times it's about rearranging what's already there, something that exists in a form that feels new. So, for youngsters, students, young builders, the adjacent possibility is everywhere. So, if you have been using AI tools like GPT and your notes or work notes, an automatic study notes planner, definitely useful. If you do a lot of PPTs, having a cleanup tool, a quick presentation beautifier, that's an idea. Not everything needs to be world changing. Sometimes you have timetables. You may need a simple script to create a smart schedule based on your workload, all of these things. So every frustration you experience is the beginning of a hunch. Every hunch is a doorway to the adjacent possible. So the challenge is not to have more ideas. It is to implement them more effectively. The challenge is to train yourself to notice them. Why most students hate, or most people already have ideas, but they have never realized it. It's not that people lack creativity, it's that people lack awareness. And there are a few reasons for this. We are conditioned to think that ideas must be big. School, media, popular culture, everything romanticizes this massive invention, billion-dollar startups. However, if you have gone through Chris Guillebeau's book, The $100 Startup, it kind of demonstrates that meaningful ventures usually start small. Many of the people he profiles built simple businesses, many of which cost under $100, and that solved small real problems for a small group of people. Big impact does not require big ideas. It requires solving small problems exceptionally well. So you don't have to be the next unicorn. You can be a company of one person. You just need the idea, execution, manageable scale. All of it put together is gold. So at school, we are trained to solve assignments, not problems. You are assigned, you are asked to do something and you do that. You are taught to find the correct answers, not the most useful ones. So creativity often gets trimmed into neat lines. You're supposed to fit within that swim lane and come up with some creative solution. But beyond that, you're not supposed to be doing anything. Entrepreneurship flows in the opposite direction. Start with a messy problem, not a clean, well organized question. So we understand the kind of power of niches. So there is another nice book by Paul Jarvis. It's called Company of One, where he challenges the default belief that every business must scale. Why? He argues that small, focused, thoughtfully designed companies can be more stable, more profitable, more aligned with personal freedom if you want to run it on a small scale. So, this is the perfect mindset for a solopreneur. The reason I keep talking of solopreneurs is that there are humongous opportunities with AI tools today. It's just possible that one person could actually run or create something huge that impacts a lot of people in today's world. So no one teaches you how to record all these frictions or frustrations that you face. Ideas kind of evaporate when they are not captured. A successful entrepreneur maintains a friction log, a simple list of annoyances, inefficiencies, repetitive tasks, all of these things. Your next business idea has probably already happened to you and you don't know because you didn't write it down. So let's look at using AI as your ideation partner. We live in an era where AI can act as a creative amplifier. So you can feed in some of your thoughts that you captured in your notebook, and AI can bring in all the other missing pieces into that. So that kind of amplifies the idea. So for generations, people brainstormed alone with friends or using notebooks, and the process was slow. You have to find this friend, get some good time with him, get him into a good talkative mood, then start discussing. With AI, you just type it out and there you have it. So today you can sit at your desk and ask AI to scan the whole world's knowledge and come back with answers for questions like give me 20 micro SaaS ideas based on my schedule, or how can I automate this repetitive task in my college. AI won't think for you, but it will expand your thinking by presenting connections, patterns, possibilities, something that you wouldn't normally consider because you don't have access to the entire world's information or world knowledge in your brain. So when combined with your lived experiences, AI turns slow hunches into visible opportunities. So creativity is a skill, it's not a gift. This is another foundational idea that comes from Michael Michalko's classic. It's called Thinkertoys. He argues that creativity is not mystical, it's a trainable skill. Michalko offers dozens of techniques that can help you break out of linear, predictable thinking. And one of the simplest is called Scamper. Scamper is a abbreviation for a whole bunch of things. S is substitute, C is combine, A is adapt, modify, put to other use, eliminate, reverse. So let's look at that. Substitute. Substitute something that's already there with something better. Combine ideas, two different things. Adapt an existing element to something in the environment, or modify or magnify a solution. Put to other uses. You could never have imagined to use a phone for artificial intelligence queries because it simply did not exist, right? Eliminate anything unnecessary. Reverse all the usual approaches. So this kind of ignites or gives you more ideas on what to work on. So let's take the classic problem of the messy class notes that you took. Using Scamper, you can imagine combining notes with OCR and summary tools, eliminating clutter with a cleanup script, reversing the workflow, upload, auto summarize automatically. So within minutes, what felt like just an irritation becomes a viable idea. Creativity isn't about inspiration, it's about technique. So let's also look at reverse engineering problems. Another powerful habit is what I call problem reverse engineering. So whenever you encounter a frustration, ask this question: how do I solve this with a tiny tool or automate this? For example, we talked about 20 PDF images every week. How do we convert all of this text into PDFs every week with just one click? That's an idea. Searching WhatsApp for event posters. Why not? So this is precisely the thinking that Gullibio encourages in the $100 startup. Start small, act fast, keep costs low. Because when you're alone, you don't want to solve the next world hunger problem. What you want to do is start really small, act really fast so that you can see some results, get some feedback, and see if it is working, and keep costs really low. So reverse engineering every day turns everyday problems into some kind of an idea factory. Okay. Then here is another important skill that you need when you are searching for ideas. Trend surfing, but in the smart way. Trend surfing doesn't mean chasing whatever is currently viral. No. It basically means staying ahead of the curve. It means observing shifts in the tools that people use, or in frustrations that people voice online, or in workflows that are becoming more complex. That's where you will see some potential for ideas. So Paul Jarvis, he also reminds us, don't just chase everything. Choose the trends that align with your goals, your skills, and your lifestyle. Just because a trend is very huge and it's becoming more popular, don't chase that. Does that align with your business goal? Does that align with an idea that you want to work on? Does that align with a lifestyle that you want to pursue? All of it. And again, he keeps stressing small and focused always beats the big and chaotic. Most of the time. I mean, I'm sure there are going to be exceptions in every advice that's ever given out, but most of the times. So, yeah, I've also listed out a few tools or ideas that you can just think through if you want to start on something, or if you want to just use that as an exercise to come up with some ideas. Try it out. You'll find it in the description below. And the last thing, look at ideas that you already have. The most transformative realization you can have is this: you already have 10 ideas around you, I'm pretty sure. You just weren't trained to see them. So your environment is full of signals and patterns. All you have to do is observe. Keep a friction log, capture some annoyance, capture an irritation that you see. Sometimes you might have a bright idea that has nothing to do with irritation. That's rare, but if it does happen, good for you. Otherwise, these are steps, and this is some advice that I've discussed in this episode that will help you to find good, interesting ideas to work on. So keep going, be creative. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching.